Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a problem that touches millions of lives, but often stays hidden in the shadows. The problem is addiction in America. While we hear about drugs and overdoses in the news, the real crisis is much deeper and more silent than many realize. Addiction is not just a personal failure, it's a national emergency. But here's the question: how can we solve it? Let's uncover the truth and explore the real solutions together. Understanding the hidden problem. Addiction is everywhere, yet invisible. It affects people from all walks of life: doctors, students, parents, veterans. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, over 46 million Americans struggled with substance use disorder in 2021. That's nearly 1 in 5 adults. But here's the hidden part: only a small fraction of them get the treatment they need. Why? Because addiction is still seen as a moral weakness instead of what it truly is: a medical condition, a disease of the brain. Shame, stigma, and lack of access to care prevent people from asking for help. And that silence is deadly. What is addiction, really? Most people think addiction is just a lack of willpower, that if someone really wanted to quit, they could. But science tells a different story. Addiction is a chronic brain disease. It changes the way the brain processes reward, decision-making, and self-control. Over time, a person loses the ability to stop, even when they want to. And here's what's worse: addiction often coexists with mental illness. Depression, anxiety, PTSD. These conditions don't just lead to addiction, they feed off each other. Understanding this is key. Addiction is not a moral failure. It's a medical condition, and it needs to be treated that way. The scale of the crisis: let's look at the numbers. Over 106,000 people died of drug overdoses in the US in 2021. Opioid overdoses, especially from fentanyl, are now the leading cause of death for Americans under 50. Nearly 1 in 5 Americans struggles with some form of substance use disorder, and yet only 1 in 10 people who need treatment actually get it. We have a system that's overwhelmed, underfunded, and focused on the wrong things. Root causes of addiction. Solve addiction, we have to ask. Why do people turn to drugs or alcohol in the first place? It's not just about bad choices. It's often about pain, emotional, physical, and psychological. Many people struggling with addiction have histories of trauma, abuse, poverty, or mental illness. Others are prescribed opioids for pain and become dependent without even realizing it. Addiction is often the symptom of deeper issues, not the root cause itself. So if we only treat the addiction but not the pain behind it, the cycle continues. What's not working? Let's be honest. America's current approach is broken. We spend billions fighting a war on drugs, but we mostly focus on punishment instead of healing. People are arrested for possession rather than being offered treatment. Meanwhile, treatment centers are underfunded. Waiting lists are long. Many insurance companies don't cover effective treatments like medication-assisted therapy. And instead of seeing recovery as a long-term journey, we treat it like a short-term fix. This system isn't helping. It's hurting. What we're doing wrong. For decades, the US response to addiction has been dominated by the war on drugs. That meant more prisons, harsher penalties, and tough-on-crime rhetoric. But the results? Millions of nonviolent drug users sent to jail. Whole communities, especially Black and low-income ones, devastated. And addiction rates? Still rising. Even today, many people are arrested for possessing small amounts of drugs instead of being offered treatment. We wouldn't throw someone in jail for having diabetes, so why do we treat addiction differently? What actually works? The good news is, we know what works. Point 1. Treating addiction as healthcare. Addiction should be treated in clinics, not courtrooms. Doctors should screen for substance use just like they check for high blood pressure. Point 2. Expanding evidence-based treatment. That includes medication-assisted treatment, like methadone and buprenorphine, which reduce cravings and help people recover. Point 3. Investing in mental health. Most people with addiction are also dealing with untreated trauma or mental illness. We can't solve one without addressing the other. Point 4. Prevention and education. We need to start early, teaching kids real coping skills, not just say no. We must teach them how to handle stress, loss, and anxiety in healthy ways. Point 5. Harm reduction programs like needle exchanges and Narcan distribution save lives. They don't encourage drug use. They keep people alive long enough to get help. Point 6. Long-term recovery support. Addiction isn't fixed in 30 days. Recovery takes months or years, and people need jobs, housing, and community support to succeed. Real solutions. So, how do we solve the addiction crisis in America? Here are 6 powerful solutions we need to adopt. Treat addiction as a health issue. We must change how we see addiction. It's a disease, not a crime. We need to integrate addiction treatment into regular health care, just like we treat diabetes or heart disease. Expand access to treatment. Everyone who wants help should be able to get it, without waiting weeks or months. That means more funding for treatment centers, especially in rural and low-income areas. Use evidence-based treatment. Medication-assisted treatment, like methadone or buprenorphine, has been proven to work, but it's still underused due to stigma and regulation. We must normalize these life-saving therapies. Invest in mental health and prevention. Many people with addiction also struggle with depression, anxiety, or PTSD. If we want to treat addiction, we must treat the mental health behind it. Schools should teach coping skills, stress management, and emotional resilience to prevent addiction before it starts. Support harm reduction programs like needle exchanges, safe injection sites, and widespread access to naloxone, Narcan. Save lives. They don't encourage drug use. They reduce the risk of death and disease while connecting people to help. Focus on long-term recovery support. Recovery doesn't end after 30 days of rehab. People need ongoing support, peer counseling, job training, sober housing, and community. Let's build a system that helps people stay well, not just get clean. Real stories, real change. Behind every statistic is a story. A mother who lost her son to an overdose, a young man who turned to heroin after a football injury, a woman who spent years in jail instead of getting the help she needed. But there are also stories of hope. People who recover, rebuild their lives, and help others find the same path. Recovery is possible. Millions are living proof. But we must build a world that gives people a real chance to recover. Addiction is not just a personal issue. It's a public crisis. And the only way to solve it is together. We need compassion, not judgment. Science, not shame. Support, not silence. It's time to bring addiction out of the shadows and into the light, because when we treat addiction with humanity and urgency, we save lives, and that is how we solve the hidden problem of addiction in America. If you found this video helpful or meaningful, like the video, comment below to share your thoughts or stories. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful content like this. Your support helps spread awareness and could make a real difference in someone's life. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.